I've thrown away more footage this week than I posted. I don't know what it is lately, but I guess I get stuff home. I'm in this rut. This happens sometimes, where usually whenever I'm going somewhere, for business or to pick something up or whatever, I just fire up the camera and go, unless I'm in a hurry to get somewhere. And so I mean, sometimes you get something, sometimes you don't. I come home and I know this is channel shit. You don't give a fuck about it. I barely care about it, but sometimes I get something home that I don't think there's anything there, and then I get into editing and I put all this goofy shit in it and make it mildly entertaining. But yeah, I've just been coming home with stuff that's just really just nothing interesting in it. And the other problem I'm having too is I just keep going back to the same subjects, like stuff that's happening here. And I joke a lot about getting banned. They're gonna ban you if you say certain words, or certain talk about certain subjects. And while that's true for some stuff, I make a joke out of it a lot, But lately I just keep going back to this area that I don't know if I'd necessarily get banned for, but I could get some heat if the wrong people saw it. And I don't mind doing that if there's a return on entertainment value, or if someone will get something out of it. But it's been really lopsided. Like, why am I taking a chance talking about all this stuff? It's basically a lot of Hawaii stuff, things that I've just run into doing research on other things, what would be considered conspiratorial type stuff. A lot of that kind of stuff happens here. And if I'm going to talk about that, first of all, it's not really that interesting to people who don't live here, I wouldn't think. And if you do live here, it just sounds crazy. So yeah, I've been bringing home a lot of that and just going, I can't use this, I can't use this, I can't use this. The whole, so I have to keep it to, I have to just be better. I have to not suck. I have to not make shitty stuff. I was just talking to Nia about how I came into God. Well, I came into I started a relationship with God way after she did. And I used to make fun of her for it. Like when we first started seeing each other, like in the mid-2000s, I would harass her for it, for the God thing. Like, her family's very religious, and they're not super spiritual. They're very religious. Like, I don't know if they exactly but they're really into the dogma of it, and they're into the rules and stuff. Like the other day, Nia was going to do this lantern ceremony they do here every year for like dead people. What you do is you buy a lantern, and then there's an area here where you let the lanterns float out onto the water with like pictures of the dead or whatever, loved ones. It's a nice little thing. But her and her mom were going to do one. But what happened is they found out that Buddhists were bringing the lanterns to the church, and they're Christians. And her mom was like, I'm not taking lanterns from Buddhists. So I was like, all right, well, we're not doing that. So they're very into the rules. Like, you have to go to church on this day. You can't eat meat, like all the little things like about eating meat on certain days, or they're very into the rules. There's no joy in it. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of joy in it. They just, I don't know if they like rules and regulations, but they seem to gravitate toward living that way, not just in a religious way, but their family's very much like that. They're very much, I don't know how to explain it, but the duty is a big thing with them. They're Korean. Her family's Korean and Japanese. Her dad's Japanese. Why am I giving all this personal information? Who cares? Point is, she's been a Christian for a long time, and I used to give her a hard time about it because I was like a science boy, right? I thought I knew everything, you know. I wouldn't necessarily come out and make fun of people that were believers or followers of Christ, but I just thought it was all made up stuff to be used as a mechanism to control people, which religion still is. Religion has nothing to do with following Christ and spirituality. It has everything to do with a pedo in a white robe trying to get between you and God. It's a way to corral the would-be pious into a situation where they're going to be the intermediary between you and the divine, you know? Like, oh, you want to learn about God? Okay. I'll tell you about God, because you can't possibly have your own relationship with him. And I was saying earlier when I started this too, that of how I have a relationship with God. And I used to hear people say that, right? When I used to, you know, the days I'd give me a hard time about it. And I just think it just sounded so corny. Like, what do you mean you have a relationship with God? Do you talk to him too? Because if you talk to God, right, you're crazy. You're an absolute crazy person. That's what culture and society has drilled into my head, you know. Yeah, the guy was, he was talking to God, and he went and he climbed the bell tower and started firing. You know, like, it was always the area of the crazy person. I almost said the province. I don't know if that's what I'm looking for, but it's for crazy people, right? And this is what I was a brainwashed fucking retard. And the thing is, like, and that's why and not to go off on another thing, but how I call, you know, people robots, and and the people without divinity, I think aren't real people and stuff. There is a case to be made for people that are still kind of have the ability to wake up to this idea. Maybe not so much anymore. I think, like I've said before, people that are going to be woken up are awake. I was watching the brilliant Charles Carroll the other day on this subject. He's a comedian mainly, but he's kind of a philosopher type guy. He has a channel on YouTube, and he's known for a lot of things. But anyway, he's talking about people waking up, and he was like, there are some people that are not going to wake up. You know, and I've said a similar thing here for years, and he was saying, which I never really thought about, he was like, not only are they not going to wake up, but they would rather have you die than wake up. They would rather you died than wake up to a reality. They want to stay where they are so badly. They will they'd rather you be dead. And we saw that with COVID. The people who were like bought the whole story, and they wanted people who didn't buy the whole story in camps, in hospitals. They wanted us to be second-class citizens, and many executed, of course. You know, all this rhetoric came out. All the receipts are out there for tweets of mad people saying this about, you know, and it made me think of that. They fear so much having to face something that they're not prepared to face. They would rather you be annihilated and be off the face of the earth than have to come around. So, I mean, I don't know. I would still argue that it's not so much a will situation, it's a capacity situation. I don't think these people can come around because, as we've determined here, settled science, a lot of them are soulless. They don't have divinity, they don't have the spark of divinity. And what they are is actually creations of the system, the OS, put here many, I don't even want to say years, but because I don't know if you can measure the time in this way. Time's only here in this 3D realm. But have been here to try to help facilitate this area as a school. You know, like to train people, to train those who have divinity how to do whatever the fuck they're doing, you know. But so I would still maintain that. But there are some, I imagine, who could be shaken out of it. But it's not your job to do that. It never was. And for it to really mean something, for it to really stick with people, for it to really be profound for them. They have to come to it on their own. You can give them, if it's a loved one or someone close to you, you can give them hints. You can drop breadcrumbs or whatever, or if you can find an angle in. But yeah, there are probably some out there, but you're more likely to get yourself in trouble trying to shake them and wake them. But yeah, when he talked about that, how they'd rather you be dead, it was chilling, because I'm like, yeah, you feel that truth frequency. Like, yeah, he's right. They would rather you die than break out of their matrix, you know. Let's keep walking. I don't have to go in there right now. Fuck. I can't walk by Ross without going in. You never know, though. See, the thing with Ross is they, and I know this is fucking real interesting, but they put out their stock, not on any particular day, just kind of when a truck comes in. So, you know, some days you go in there and you hit the jackpot of plastic shit. Actually, want to get some Campbell's for the house, but anyway, I'm kind of stuck here. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can do something. Sometimes doing something is doing nothing, just kind of jumping out. But going back to the God thing, yeah, I used to make fun of Nia for it, because yeah, I was fucking brainwashed, you know. I thought science was the answer, and it's not. Science is the explanation for magic. The magic they use, the magic that holds the world together. They give us science to explain the phenomena. And then all this lore and all these books that you can go to universities and study. And who could believe that that's just all bullshit? Because it is. It's all bullshit. You could. I see people that get like these. Brian May from Queen. He has like a PhD in like astronomy, or is it like something like that? Some space, the study of space, whatever the fuck it is. Who cares? I don't care. But he has a PhD in that, and that's like having a doctorate on fucking Stargate SG-1, because it's the same thing. It's just a bunch of lore. None of it's true. It's all made up stuff that's in books. It's just that respectable people recognize it as some kind of truth, and you have to go to a university to learn about it. But it's fucking Stargate SG-1. It's the same thing. None of it's real. It's all bullshit, right? But, you know, whatever. Some people are going to understand that. Some people won't. Some people would rather you die than bring it up. And they do react violently to stuff like that. I told a video about one of my friends that I got in a fight with. He fucking sucker punched me too, walking out of the building. Asshole. We're friends now, but still, we made up over it. But he was going on and on about colonizing Mars, and I was just getting sick of hearing about it. I'd watched some documentary, and I'm like, dude, we're not going to colonize Mars. There is no Mars. And like, you saw the snap, like there's something in him, and he fucking lost it. And he's like, well, why don't you tell me that outside? So I'm like, wow, okay. So as I'm going outside, I'm walking out the doorway at McDonald's. Next thing I know, I'm on the floor. He turned around as I was walking out, just punched me in the face, knocked me out. Does that sound normal though? No. What that is it's the defense mechanism, you know. They would rather you die than face any kind of questioning of their reality, and there are people like that. Now, he very well could be just a tool, one of these soulless people. He's a nice guy, but he's kind of dumb, and he's on fucking pills basically 24/7. Barely understand what he's saying half the time. He's done. He's fried. He won't be around much longer, unfortunately. Sad, but whatever. There are a lot of people that went down that road of drugs and shit. But yeah, people could have a violent reaction to it. You know, they're protecting their system. It's very Agent Smith-like, you know. But yeah, you hear people talk about having a relationship with God, and I used to think how lame that sounds, but I have a relationship with God. I know God. I talk to God. You know, it's not what I thought it was. This whole God thing, right? The reason I stayed away from it so long was because of the propaganda of the world. It makes you think it's something that it isn't. You know, you have these ideas in your head of what, you know, God is this authoritarian bearded dude with sandals. He's a male figure. He's a male presence, okay? But he's not like a guy. He isn't a dude. You know, he's called the Father. You know, Father Yah. These are just words we have to describe. These are the words that we use to describe. So, now that I do have a relationship with God and I do talk to God, although it's not out loud, you don't want to talk to him out loud, keep that shit in your head, because there are always things around you waiting to answer for him, to make you think that it's him talking to you or it's him answering you, and it's not him answering you. It's the forgotten ones. You know, so you want to keep it in your head, but I know him and he knows me, and that's why I don't let like the Bible lawyers and the churchians you know, get to me with their stuff about how I worship or what I have to do, or you know, how I can talk to God and not talk to God. It's like, when they criticize you like that, it's almost a tell like that they don't have a relationship with God, because they think it's all books and rules and regulations, and you can't do this without that, and you're definitely burning in hell. It's like, no, you don't know him then. You know, you don't know him. I know him, he knows me. I talk to him every day. Talk to him every day. And yeah, it sounds nuts. But when you get in that space and you develop a relationship with him, it doesn't seem crazy, because it's a whole different thing than what you thought it was. What I used to think it was, when I used to laugh at Nia for being into Jesus and stuff, it's not anything like that. It's not. It's so different, and it's hard to articulate, but it's not anything like what you think it is. When you finally do have that, you're like, oh, okay, oh, he knows me, oh, and I know him, oh, and I can talk to him, and I can swear when I'm talking. He doesn't care, because I tell you, man, from my fucking perspective, God doesn't care about the little bullshit. He doesn't care. You know, some Christians will tell you, you know, you can't swear in your prayers. You don't know God then. You don't know God, okay? Because he knows you. He knows what's in your heart. He sees what's in your heart. He sees your intentions. All that little shit just doesn't matter. Like, I used to fret about the way I dress, or the fact that, you know, I wear makeup and the house is always all this goth stuff. He does not give a shit about that. He doesn't care about that stuff. I know, because I know him. You know, and if you knew him, you'd know that he doesn't either. He knows what you are, and he accepts you for what you are. You're his kid. I mean, sure, he doesn't like some of the things, but he doesn't judge you for it. Not in that capacity, not in that way, not when you're praying or you're talking to him. It's not. It's hard to explain to someone that isn't in the God zone. But just know that if you're not, you're not here. You're not listening to me talk. But I wish I would have known earlier, and I wish I didn't have to take some of the extreme things that I had to go through to get to that place. I mean, not extreme suffering or anything. It's just real weird stuff that had to go on, you know. But it's not what you think it is, and I'm so much happier now. The fear is gone. So yeah, I talk to God. I have a relationship with God. I know him. Get to know him. Don't blame the teacher. Blame the school.